Now, the next term that we have to consider is MTTF, mean time to failure in terms of failure density. Also, mean time to failure if delta t not equal to 1. These two simultaneously we have to consider. So, our next small topic is mean time to failure in terms of failure density. So, please note, mean time to failure, if we have the failure time of each component, then we can easily calculate mean time to failure, that is MTTF is equal to T1 plus T2 plus etc plus Tn divided by n, where T1 to Tn are the failure time of each component. T1 to Tn are the failure time of each component. Okay, so even if delta t not equal to 1, we can use the same equation if we have failure time, if the given table have failure time. If we don't have the failure time, instead of failure time, if the number of components failed are given during each interval, then if delta t not equal to 1, the mean time to failure, that analytical equation used for calculating mean time to failure is delta t into f1 plus 2, f2 plus 3, f3 plus etc plus this is L. I ask you to replace this one with L into FL divided by capital N. Is it okay? So in previous class we discussed about this equation. I told you one is marked outside the bracket, and I told you that one is nothing but the period of duration. Okay, and I told you later we will replace that one with delta t, right? So mean time to failure, if delta t not equal to 1, mean time to failure is delta t into f1 plus 2, f2 plus 3, f3 plus L into FL divided by capital N, where delta t is the period of duration, f1, f2, f3, etc. FL are the number of failure during the first interval, second interval, etc. the last interval L, and capital N is the initial population or number of specimen tested. Okay, so we can write it as 1 by n into sigma k equal to 1 to L k fk into delta t, k fk into delta t. Is it okay, all of you? So we can use this equation, but delta t equal to 1, if delta t equal to 1, we can remove this term delta t. Okay, for table 1, delta t equal to 1, so there is no need to use this delta t. Okay, otherwise we have to use delta t. Okay, so this one is mean time to failure. Okay, now what we are going to do, we are going to derive a relationship between mean time to failure and failure density. This fk is number of failure. We need a relationship between MTTF and failure density. So please go through the equation of failure density if delta t not equal to 1. If delta t not equal to 1, then the failure density for kth interval is fdk is equal to fk divided by n into delta t. Failure density fd for kth interval is fdk is equal to fk divided by n into delta t. If you are going through the another equation, we have fd is equal to f by n into delta t. So for kth interval, we can write it as fdk is equal to fk divided by n into delta t. So please note this equation, this another equation of MTTF. Actually, we can take this capital N into this part. So we can write it as sigma k is equal to 1 to L. Then what we can write? We can write k into then fk divided by capital N into the last part is delta t. We can modify this equation as sigma k equal to 0 to L k into fk divided by n into delta t. Am I correct? Now the interesting thing is, in failure density we have the same term, same term fk divided by n. So what is fk divided by n? From this equation, what is fk divided by n? What is fk divided by n? It's a simple one. Fk divided by n is fdk into delta t. Fk divided by n is equal to fdk into delta t. So what we can do? We can replace this fk by n with fdk into delta t. So this equation will become, this MTTF equation will become sigma k is equal to 0 to L, now k into, now FDK into delta T, FDK into delta T, that is Fk by N. Now one more delta T is, one more delta T is. So we have MTTF is equal to sigma k equal to 0 to L, k into FDK into delta T into delta T. Is it okay? So now what we can do, instead of this bracket we can combine this k and delta T. So we can write, so this is MTTF. So we can write it as sigma k is equal to 0 to L, take FDK to outside, so FDK, okay. Now take k into this bracket, so k into delta T into delta T. Okay, so MTTF is equal to sigma k equal to 0 to L FDK into k into delta T into delta T, where FDK is the failure density during the kth interval, k is the interval, delta T is the length of interval, right? So my question is, if k is the interval number and delta T is the length of interval, then what is k into delta T? What is k into delta T? If k is the interval time and delta T is the length of interval, then k into delta T is nothing but time. Am I correct? Yes. If k is the interval number and delta T is the length of interval, then k into delta T is the time. But I can't write it, I can replace k into delta T with T here. For that, one condition is very important, as delta T tends to 0. Otherwise, we have to write like this way. We can't replace k into delta T with T if delta T tends to 0, we can replace k into delta T with T. Otherwise, we can't write. But please note, later we are going to replace k into delta T with T if delta T tends to 0. Because that one is elapsed time. That one is a completed time. K into delta T is the elapsed time or completed time. Okay. So please note the relationship between mean time to failure and failure density is, where elapsed time is T is equal to k into delta T. And one important condition is here, delta T tends to 0. Okay. So for the time being, I am not writing that. So the relationship between MTTF and FDK is, MTTF is equal to sigma 1 to L FDK into k delta T into delta T. I am saying this one continuously, sigma 1 to L FDK into k delta T into delta T. So this one is a relationship. Is it okay, all of you? So please note down this equation. Please note down this equation. This one is also very important for our future derivation. Okay, in order to derive the continuous relationship, this one is important. This one is not a continuous relationship. This one is a discrete relationship because summation is used. Okay. So now, before going to the continuous relationship, we are going to generalize our, we are going to consider the graphs of failure density, failure rate and reliability. I ask you to draw the graph of failure density, failure rate and reliability of table 1. So by using that graph, we are going to generalize our relationship. Okay. So please note, this one is the first one. The first one is the graph of failure density with respect to time. because table 1, this one is the graphs of table 1. Okay, so the first one is the failure density graph of table 1. So please note at that point interval number and time both are same. So this one is a graph. So you can see that initially the slope is more, then it is almost linearly decreasing, okay, or exponentially decreasing. Actually, it is exponentially decreasing. Then we have a curved one. Then that one is reduced to 0. So this one is failure density. Now second one is failure rate with respect to time. So initially a small decrease is the, if you are going through table 1, it is starting with 0.139, it is starting from 0.139, then that one is decreased to 0.1, then it is constant at 0.1 up to 13th interval, then from 13th interval it is continuously increasing. Means initially it is decreasing, then it is constant, then it is increasing. So this is failure rate. Now third one is reliability. Reliability with respect to time. So what is happening? Initially it is exponentially decreasing. So from somewhere here, this point to that is from interval 1 to interval 13, that one is exponentially decreasing. Then from 13 to 18, it is again exponentially decreasing, but the slope is changed. Here from 13 to 18, again it is exponentially decreasing, but the slope is different. Okay, so here you can see three clear zones. You can see three clear zones. This is one zone. This is one zone. This is second zone. So this is first zone. This is second zone. This is third zone. Okay. So if you are considering these three zones, if you are considering these three graphs, you can see three different zones: first zone, second zone, and third zone. What about first zone? If you are taking failure rate, it is decreasing. Failure rate is decreasing. With respect to failure rate, in first zone, failure rate is decreasing. So here it is decreasing. Then in second zone, failure rate is constant. And in third zone, failure rate is increasing. So now we are going to generalize by using the failure rate. We are going to generalize our equation by using failure rate. So with respect to failure rate, we have three clear zones. In first zone, the failure rate is decreasing. In second zone, failure rate is constant. And in third zone, failure rate is increasing. Okay. So if failure rate is decreasing, what about failure density? Failure density is suddenly decreasing. If failure rate is decreasing, failure density is suddenly decreasing. And what about reliability? The slope of reliability is more here. If failure rate is decreasing, slope of this one is more. Okay. Now what about failure rate is constant? If failure rate is constant, then you can see that the failure density is almost linearly decreasing. Actually, it is not linear; it is exponential, but it is almost linear. It is almost linearly decreasing. And what about reliability? It is exponentially decreasing with a less slope. This one is reliability is exponentially decreasing. If failure rate is constant, if this failure rate is constant, this one is linearly decreasing, that is failure density. And what about reliability? That one is exponentially decreasing. Now what about third zone? I told you failure rate is increasing. If failure rate is increasing, what about failure density? It have a suddenly it is increased, then that one is dropped to 0. Failure density, if for a small duration that one is increased, then that one is dropped to 0. Failure density will become 0. And what about reliability? I told you it is exponentially decreasing. The slope of that decrease is suddenly increasing. You can see that it is following another exponential. It is following another exponential. Okay. So for our discussion, we are going to consider this failure rate. For our remaining discussion, we are going to consider this failure rate. Okay. So I am going to zoom this failure rate. I'm going to show this failure rate. So this one is failure rate. So now you can see three clear zones. I already told you we have three zones. Now you can see three clear zones. This is one zone, this is second zone, and this one is third zone. This one is third zone. Is it okay? So you can see three clear zones. The first zone is this one, that is up to this one. This one is the first zone. It is known as infant failure or early failure zone. The first zone is known as infant failure zone or early failure zone. First zone. Okay, that one is a small period, a short initial period. The initial duration, initial zone is a failure zone, infant failure zone or early failure zone. It is for a small duration, for a small period. Okay. So normally this one will occur when the manufacturing unit have some defects, like if the components are manufactured by using weak parts or bad assembly or poor installation, etc. It is due to the manufacturing problem. If the manufacturing unit have large manufacturing problem, the infant failure, the initial zone will be something like this one. Means initial failure will be large. If the manufacturing unit is a defect one, means if it is using weak parts, weak units, bad assembly, etc., initial failure or the infant failure or early failure will be large. If you are using a very good manufacturing unit, then the initial failure or infant failure, this zone will be small. This zone will be small. So what we can say here, we are using this particular one is using a very good manufacturing because the infant failure is small. Infant failure is. Is it a all of you? Okay. So this one is a first zone or infant failure or early failure zone. Okay, so this part is very important. If this one is a large decrease is observed, then we can say that some defect is there in manufacturing unit. Okay. Now take the second zone. This one is a second zone. The second zone is known as the service failure zone. It is known as the service failure zone. What is our observation here? Here, the failure rate or hazard rate is almost constant. The hazard rate is almost constant. Table 1 point of view, it is within 0.1 to 0.101. Means it is constant. It is known as service failure zone. Okay. Now, please note, we can reduce this constant value. Actually, table 1 point of view, we have 0.101 or 0.1. We can reduce that value, and we can increase the length of this zone by providing a very good service. So that is why service is important. If you are manufacturing a car or bike, a periodic service is important. Why? If you are providing a periodic service, we can reduce the value of this constant failure rate, this value that we can decrease, and we can increase the period of this service failure zone that we can do. Okay. So please note here the failures are random and that one is usual and that one is evenly constant. Okay. So this zone length can be increased by providing a regular service. If the service is failed, then this value will increase and the length will decrease. If you are failed to provide a regular service, this length will decrease and the value of this constant will increase. That is why it is known as service failure zone. So second zone is known as service failure zone. It have one more name. In second module we will discuss about that. So this is known as service failure zone. Is it clear all of you? Okay. Now the next one is third zone is the wear out failure. The third zone is wear out failure. Okay. We can't avoid this wear out failure because all components, the system have a life and that system is manufactured by using a number of components and those components have a lifetime. After that lifetime, definitely the components will fail, the system will fail. So this third zone is known as the wear out failure zone. Okay, because in this particular region, definitely the failure of components is more. Definitely, out of the number of components survived, the failure will be more. Okay, you can see that after 13th zone, something around 200 200 components are survived. Out of that 200 components, the number of components failed per this survived component is large. Not with respect to 1000. Out of 1000, after 13th interval, almost 700 components are failed. Now remaining components are something around 200 components. So compared to that 200 component, the failure rate is large. Okay, because the lifetime is reached. Okay, so what we can do? We can decrease this slope by using components with large quality. By using large quality components, we can decrease this slope. That we can do. Otherwise, we can avoid this wear out failure. Okay, so please note if you are taking the graph of failure rate, it is clearly showing three different zones. First zone is known as infant failure or early failure zone. Second zone is known as the service failure zone, and third zone is known as wear out failure. Okay, so for different product, this shape may be different. For some component, this one may be the graph. For some component, this green colored one is the graph. For some zone, this one may be the graph. So the graph may be different, but you can clearly see three different zones. Is it okay? Now you can see that I told you this one is the normal graph. This is something similar to bathtub. So this failure rate, graph of failure rate is also known as bathtub curve. The graph of failure rate, the graph of failure rate is also known as bathtub curve. So please note that. This is known as the bathtub curve. Okay. The graph of failure rate is known as bathtub curve. So this one is the bathtub curve. Okay. So this one is operating time. This one is left y-axis is failure rate. Okay. That is small f of t. Here it is showing small capital F of t. It is fd of t. Okay. The early failure. Normally this one is, we can represent this part by using Gaussian normal density curve. This is something similar to normal Gaussian density curve. Okay. This one is a startup region, early failure region. Then we have fd of t is constant. This is service failure zone. This one is the second name, chance failure. The service failure zone is also known as chance failure zone. Chance, luck, chance failure zone. So this one is a useful life. This one is the useful life. Okay, if this one is lengthy, we can trust the life is large. So this one is a trusty life region, useful life region. Now the third zone is wear out failure region, and we can represent this region by using Gaussian normal density curve. Okay, so this one is a life end region. So this one is a general representation of bathtub curve. This one is the general representation of bathtub curve, or this one is a normal bathtub curve. I told you this one will vary with respect to the product. This one is a normal bathtub curve. Okay, so please note this bathtub curve. This blue colored one is the bathtub curve. That one is split into three. Initially, the decreasing failure rate is more visible. Okay, we can represent by that one using this dotted brown colored one. This dotted brown colored one, you can see that that one is exponentially decreasing. Okay, if you are modeling failure rate, then initial part can be modeled by using the exponentially decreasing graph. Now the second region is constant, so that we can represent by using a constant one, that is y equal to c or fd equal to c. We have to find that value if you are modeling it. Now in third region, the increase in failure rate is more visible, so that we can represent by using this orange colored dotted curve. Okay, exponentially increasing orange colored dotted one. So we can split bathtub curve into three: exponentially decreasing one, a constant one, and exponentially increasing curve. Please note, we can split bathtub curve into three: exponentially or linearly decreasing one, a constant one, or and exponentially or linearly increasing one. So three different parts are there. Is it okay? So we can utilize this concept in second module. For a time being, this one is bathtub curve. Is it okay, all of you?